Well, good morning folks, and welcome back to the Virtual Airline Pilot channel on YouTube. This is Lee, your Virtual Airline Pilot, with another scenery review. We are looking at Sharm El Sheikh Hotel Echo Sierra Hotel in Egypt. It's a scenery by S Design, who've actually been around for a little while, and they've done quite a few other sceneries. And this is for Flight Simulator 2020. Downloads at 4 gigabytes and comes in one single zip file, inside which are 3 subfolders. You've got a folder called Hesh, which is the airport itself at 1.7 gig. Then you've got Hesh Aerial, which is the airport layout, photo scenery layout, which comes in at 517 megabytes. And then you have Hesh City Aerial, which is the city layout, which comes in at 2.88 gigs, just under 2.9 gig. They've used quite a bit of photo scenery. The scenery, it was made using a 20 centimeter aerial photograph as a grid reference. Does feature 4K textures. They also say some of the buildings nearby are fictional and don't represent the airport fully. Prices, okay, the scenery comes in at €15.60, which equates to $17.23 US, or £13.07 UK. Those prices include tax, VAT, which will depend on your country of purchase. And the scenery is available now from Sim Market. I've had a quick tour around this scenery and looked at various bits and pieces. It's clearly a huge step up from the default and looks really good. There appear to be some things that are missing, and there also appear to be some things that are modelled, sort of not modelled that well. For example, here you can see the buildings that you normally see on the approach to 04 left. In real world they're a lot lighter, they're almost white. If you look at any videos of approaching going into Sharm, you'll see a series of white buildings as you go into this runway. I'm not sure where whether there's a difference now, because maybe this is some years later. There appear to be some little inaccuracies, but I have to say the scenery is a really good representation of the airport and the layout, and it would be fun to fly into this place. And it does look quite nice. Now looking towards the west, you can see that there's been some extensive work done on the airport and the surroundings, which is really good. That really helps in terms of the airport and the product itself. As you can see, it lies on the Sinai Peninsula. It's beautiful mountains surrounding the area. We're looking towards runway 22 left and right here now. And the coastline looks really good, and the modelling looks excellent. So let's talk some history to start with. Sharm El Sheikh International Airport is located in the town of Sharm El Sheikh, which is located at the southwestern end of the Gulf of Aqaba in Sinai, Egypt. It's the third busiest airport in Egypt after Cairo International and Hurghada International, which is further up the coast. Airport began in May 1968 as an Israeli Air Force base. After the signing of the Egypt-Israel Peace Treaty in 1979 and subsequent Israeli withdrawal from the Sinai Peninsula, it was reopened as a civilian airport. In 2008, the Egyptian Airports Holding Company, EAHC, announced plans to build a third new terminal at the airport. In July 2009, a contract was signed with Spanish construction designers Pointec for a third terminal. The terminal's planned to double the airport's capacity from 7.5 to 15 million passengers per year. However, in October 2015, Metrojet Flight 9268 en route from Sharm to St. Petersburg in Russia crashed in the Sinai Peninsula, killing all 220 people on board, most of them Russian tourists. The jihadist group ISIL, at war with Russian forces in nearby Syria, quickly claimed responsibility for the crash, which was believed by Western governments to be the result of a terrorist bombing. Russian investigators later confirmed this in November, that the flight had indeed had a bomb on board. Following these events, many countries ordered all flights to Sharm El Sheikh suspended until further notice. In November 2015, passenger numbers significantly decreased due to the downing of the Metrojet flight, and this led to airlines cancelling flights on the airport and operating rescue flights for stranded passengers. Governments from Russia and the European countries such as the United Kingdom banned flights from operating to the airport, citing safety and security concerns that were highlighted following the crash. The government of the United Kingdom, HM government, advised against all travel to and from Sharm El Sheikh. In October 2019, the UK lifted the ban on flights between UK airports and Sharm El Sheikh, and in November 2019, TUI AG, the parent company of TUI Airways and TUI UK, announced the resumption of flights to the airport starting in February 2020. In August 2021, the Russian low-cost carrier Rossiya Airlines operated the first flight between Russia and Sharm for 5 years since the banning of flights from Russia. Runways. Sharm has two parallel runways, 04 left, 22 right, and 04 right, 22 left. We're actually now looking down the throat of 04 left and right. Both runways are 10,108 feet long, or 3,081 meters, and are made from asphalt. Both ends of each runway feature high-intensity airfield lighting system and precision approach path indicators, which you can see there now. Here we have the standard HAILS approach light system and the PAPIs either side. Runways themselves are nicely identified here. You've got the lighting, centre line, and the edge lights all looking quite good there. Runway 04 left and right feature both RMP and VOR approach options. Runway 22 left and right the other direction have RMP approach option only. Runway 04 left has a standard ILS approach option also available, and in most cases runway 04 left is in use. Runway 04, as we're looking at it now, is in use due to the prevailing winds, with 04 left here being the main landing runway, departures on the right. So as you can see, I've dropped the lighting down a little bit just so you can see the approach lighting a bit better, and this area looks really quite nice at dusk. So let's get back to the daytime and have a closer look at this airport and some of the buildings and the layout and see what we can see. So here we are at the southwestern end of the ramp, what they call apron 5 here. And as you can see, the airside detail doesn't look too bad at all. Nice use of concrete textures here. The ramp signage is good, a few odd bits and pieces laid around the ramp at this end. Buildings look reasonable. Some of these I think are default, some are just added bits and pieces. Let's have a tour up the ramp and see what we can see. Really like the palm trees, they're very nicely done. As you can see, this is quite a nice area. It's been done pretty nicely. On the left there you've got a hangar. Now we're coming into apron 4, and here you can see terminal 1, which is on the left. We'll have a closer look in a minute. I've had a look inside these buildings and there's no internal development. So passing terminal 1, and we've got the central part. Terminal 2 there in the middle. And we're coming along apron 3 now. There's a control tower building on the left. Again, no internal development in these buildings at all. But it all looks quite pleasant. The palm trees are nicely placed, vehicles are nicely placed, you've got some nice bits and pieces. And now we're coming up to the northeastern end. Again, more bits and pieces here. Where the airport looks nice. Texturing looks reasonable. I don't run in 4K resolution, I run in 2K, so it looks okay. Now on the charts, this area here is listed as a private terminal, but what they've got is listed here as they've listed it as a cargo terminal. There's the fuel farm area that you can see there, and now we're coming up to the end of the other northeast end of the airport, with runway 22 right on the right hand side there. And again, odd hangars and bits and pieces. Actually, this hangar is listed on the chart there. So here's the entrance to runway 22 right. As you can see, ground markings are excellent. You've got the signage as well, which is also pretty good. And to the left there you can see the beginning of the approach lighting system. So I've changed the time of day a little bit, it's gone into the morning, a little bit earlier in the morning, so you can see this building better. This is Terminal 1, which has been very accurately modelled. This is the airside side, and you can see, looking at the photographs of the airport, done quite a bit of research this morning before I entered this scenery, and this is modelled quite nicely. And there we are looking in the other direction, you've got some buses as well. And here you can see the terminal from the land side with the car parks. Car parks quite nicely done. They put real cars in there, but they actually haven't modelled the groundwork in the car park. And here you've got little anomalies where you've got lines of coaches and some of the cars are actually bumped into them. So not a lot of attention to detail paid here, but it still looks good. It's crisp. The ground texturing looks quite good. It's quite acceptable. The roof on the terminal there is accurate. Everything looks fine. And they're looking to the southwest. You can see the road, palm trees, bits and pieces. This again is photo scenery. Roads have not been properly developed or anything like that. So coming along Terminal 2, as you can see, there's the building that most people know when they come up towards Sharm. So Terminal 2 front air with the air mall inside. Looks quite nice. Car parks again. There's a control tower. As I said before, no internal detailing. And yeah, the airport looks quite nice. So here we are looking across the airport, largely from the airside air, looking landside. Let's turn the lighting down to dusk and have a look now and see what the dynamic lighting, if any, looks like here on the ground. Okay, it's just before 6 PM. Here's the same image taken at the dusk just before 6 PM local time. As you can see, the main lights seem to be okay. They all seem to work pretty well, and there's reasonable lighting around the airport from what I can see. We've got blue airfield lighting there. Runways looking quite decent, and the area in front of the main Terminal 1 looks good. Got a few vehicle anomalies here. But other than that, that looks fairly reasonable. And looking towards the northeast end with runway 22 right in the top right corner there, you can see there's minimal lighting. The rest of the area hasn't really been touched apart from the blue airfield edge lights. I can't see any green centerline lighting, but again, you should be okay because of the abundance of blue lighting. You should be able to see the taxiway edges. And your taxi will be lit by the nose gear light. Okay, again, just looking at the main Terminal 1 here, the lighting seems to be perfectly adequate. It's not huge, but it seems to be perfectly okay. And the same is true of Terminal 2 just up there. No lighting on the control tower that I can see. And looking at Terminal 1 from landside there, you can see lighting's fairly adequate. Nothing to write home about. Lots of these little Asobo orbs lying around everywhere, which provide some kind of lighting. And there's the departure hall entrance, Terminal 1. And the same on the other side. And you've got little waste bins here, which is a nice touch. So as you can see here, that's quite a nice shot looking across to airside, across the two main runways and the ramp area. You've got Terminal 2 below us in the foreground, which doesn't seem to be lit at all in any way, shape or form, which is a pity. That might change at night time. We'll have a look in a minute. But apart from that, it looks quite adequate, and you can see the moon there. It's quite a lovely shot. Beautiful place to go. And looking to the southwest there, Terminal 1 on the left hand side with the car park below us and the highway stretching up in the distance. Very nice indeed. So looking down on the ramp area and the landside part of Terminal 1, let's drop it down to night time now, and then we'll look at Terminal 2 below us and see if there's any improvement. Okay, just after 9 PM local time in the evening. If anything, the lighting on the airside ramp seems to have popped up a little bit more. It looks a bit brighter than it did at dusk. However, unfortunately the buildings themselves don't seem to have been lit in any way, shape or form. There's not even any sort of unrealistic lighting or no attempt to sort of light the buildings at all from what I can see here. So there's Terminal 2, 8 and 3. You can see the landside car parks nicely lit, actually on both terminals, but the buildings themselves are not, which I find really kind of strange. And here we are looking at Terminal 2 from landside. It's a real pity none of this is lit. This is the Air Mall entrance to Terminal 2, which is kind of a landmark on this airport, and it's not even lit up. That's a real pity. And not even the tower here has got any false lighting. They're looking towards the runway 22 threshold. Okay, you've got bits of lighting which looks quite nice, but it does look a bit unfinished. We look in the other direction to 04 there, looking landside of Terminal 1. Basically, the only lighting that's being provided on this building is being provided by these little Asobo globes, which is a real pity. It's a job half done. But it looks okay. It's like I said, it's a big improvement on the default. Can't argue with that. Let's have a look at dawn, see what it looks like at dawn. So 10 to 6 in the morning local time. As you can see, it looks a lot like it does at dusk, except the sun's in another direction. And as you can see, it just looks like the ramp lighting is okay, but it's kind of gone down a little bit. And looking in the other direction, as you can see, it's kind of minimal really, not a lot going on here. So let's go back to daytime and let's have a look at some of the city, some of the bits and pieces that are going on outside of the airport that have been added to this scenery product. So here we are just south of the airport. This is Shark Bay, which literally is right south of the airport here. And you can see some of these buildings look default, some of them have been added, but they do look quite nice. We get down a little closer. As you can see, this does look quite pleasant. It's not entirely accurate, it's not a marvellous job's been done on it. I think some of this is probably default and some of it has been added. So we'll go down the coast. Lots of hotels, as you would expect, and as you can see, some of the work I think has been done. The coastline looks quite nice. It looks rugged just like it does in the real world. Lots of swimming pools, hotels, bits and pieces here. And now we're getting towards the resort itself. As you go further down here, you've got the Sharm El Sheikh Museum, the Signage Grand Casino. I haven't seen, or I can't see much in the way to see whether it's actually modelled in terms of its sort of accuracy. But as you can see, the area, it looks nice. So if you wanted to get a small aircraft or a helicopter out and go and explore locally, there's plenty to look at here and maybe discover, to see what's here, things that I haven't discovered yet. Lots of this is sort of photo scenery, but it looks nice. So it's nice to see it added and developed a little bit. Let's turn the lighting down to dusk and see how much has been done for the evening. Okay, just after 6 PM, as you can see, it looks like there's fairly basic lighting here. There hasn't been much effort taken to seriously improve the lighting. Let's get a bit lower. Nice to hear the waves there. So little bits of lighting, but nothing really to write home about. Some of the buildings here look nice, look quite nice, and they've been lit up. Going down towards the coast again. So many of these are default buildings that have been modelled, or modified I should say slightly. It's coming up a little bit. There's the main highway that goes further into the town. And there's a shot looking back towards the airport. You've got the two runways 04 left and right in front of us. And as you can see, the coastline with the city as it develops. The lighting's perfectly adequate. It's nothing to say it's incredible. I don't know if there's a company called Illuminators that do enhanced night lighting for various areas. Could well be a place that they could look at, because this potentially could look fantastic in the night time or the darkness hours. And if they can do the similar sort of job that they've done on the Miami coastline, on somewhere like Sharm, it would look really impressive. It'd be a nice addition to this scenery. Okay, so let's wrap up this review. What are my thoughts? Okay, the scenery is nice. It's a huge improvement from the default. Okay, it's a nice upgrade. They've done a nice job. They haven't done a brilliant job. They've not gone to the lengths that many developers do, and potentially this airport was in such a situation that they probably should have done. I did quite a lot of research this morning because there's a new terminal planned. I can't find the new terminal on the current charts, which are 2021 charts, and that hasn't been modelled in the scenery. It might have been a good idea to model it because there are plenty of pictures of it. So that would be a nice addition, but again, I'm not certain where it goes on the airport. But S-Design have done a nice little job. The airport looks realistic enough, and you're going to enjoy it, and it's in a lovely location. They need to sort out a couple of little anomalies. Would have been nice to see some further development on the airport itself. The lighting is adequate, but it's not great. And they've included the city and done quite a lot. This is a huge download. It's 4 gigabytes, but actually the night and dusk lighting really is only adequate. That's all I can say. Lots of default stuff has been used. I think they've appear to have remodeled some bits and pieces here and there. Do I think it's worth the price? Probably not. It's probably a little too expensive. If you look at, for example, Madeira has just come out for Flight Sim 2020, and that's extensively modelled with reflections and textures that look really good, and it's way cheaper than this is. However, it could be that S-Design just really only want to do this and don't really want to go that far, and I understand that. That's perfectly acceptable. Not for the life of me going to tell developers what they must do. I can happily talk to them about what I'd like to see, but it depends on whether they take those criticisms on board. I think it's probably worth about €10, certainly not 15 in my opinion. However, as I said, it's the first development for this airport in Flight Sim 2020, and it is a significant upgrade from the default. I bought it, I wasn't given it to review, I paid for it, and I will certainly fly in here. I've seen many videos of flying into Sharm, and actually I've flown into Sharm El Sheikh in P3D and FSX. Scenery that was done by FSDG was really, really good. I personally don't think this is quite as good, but we wait and see. Maybe S-Design will work on it a bit more. It would be nice to see some work done on this airport to upgrade it, to make it look better. Lighting around the terminals and the buildings could be really improved. Signage, the road lines and stuff like that, road painting would look better if it was done proper rather than being left to photo scenery. But it's a nice little scenery, and if you want to go to Sharm and you're looking for something decent, well, this is it. It's the best we will get at the moment, and I'm quite happy with it. But as I said, I don't really think it's worth €15. So anyway, that wraps up this review. Sharm El Sheikh International Airport on the Sinai Peninsula in southern Egypt. Okay, right, scenery is by S-Design, developed for Flight Sim 2020. It's a 4 gig download that opens up into 3 folders with the airport layout underneath it, and the city layout. And the price is €15.60. or $17.23 US, or £13.07 UK, prices including tax and VAT. It's available now from Sim Market. Thank you very much for joining me this review. Hope you've enjoyed it and found it useful. Happy to talk to you about any comments. And another airport in Egypt. You've got two freeware airports at the moment, Hurghada and Aswan, available for this part of the world. And now we have a Payware scenery for Sharm, which I think kind of completes the whole thing. So thank you very much. I will see you in the next review. This is Lee, your virtual airline pilot, rounding up another review and saying I'll see you in the next video. So bye for now. Thanks again.